The Miami Dolphins have officially traded for tight end Darren Waller. Yes, that Darren Waller who was retired. The Dolphins are sending a conditional 2027 seventh round pick, and in return, they get Waller and a 2027 fifth round pick. But here's the real headline. Waller is coming out of retirement to join Miami on a one-year deal worth up to $5 million. According to insiders, that deal is packed with incentives. The Dolphins are betting on upside. Waller, now 32, turning 33 in September, says he's mentally and physically refreshed and only wanted to play again if it was for Miami. Now, wish granted. But here's the part that makes this even more intriguing. Waller previously worked with Dolphins offensive coordinator Frank Smith back when Smith coached tight ends for the Raiders. That 2019 to 2020 stretch with the Raiders, Waller exploded, over 1,000 receiving yards each season. The man was a matchup nightmare. Before we break down what this means for the Dolphins offense, before listening to the latest news, subscribe to the channel, like it, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Let's move on to the new news. With this move, Miami's offensive weapons now stack up like this. Tua Tagovailoa under center, with a backfield of Devon Achane and Jalen Wright. Receiving threats Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, Darren Waller, and Pharaoh Brown. Make no mistake, this is a win-now move. If Waller still has gas in the tank, he could be the piece that stretches the middle of the field and forces defenses to pick their poison. Let's rewind for a second. In 2019, Darren Waller's comeback story lit up the NFL. After overcoming personal struggles, he dominated with the Raiders, a performance that earned him Comeback Player of the Year honors. Fast forward to 2020, 107 receptions, nearly 1,200 yards, and 9 touchdowns. That's elite tier tight end production. But then, the decline began. He was traded to the Giants in 2023, a move many called a steal. Instead, it fizzled. Injuries piled up, and by 2024, Waller had retired, stepping away from the game entirely. Now, in 2025, he's back, and he's wearing a Miami Dolphins jersey. The question, can he still be that guy? The Dolphins aren't banking on 2020 Darren Waller. What they've made is a smart, low-risk, high-upside gamble. They gave up a late-round pick, barely a scratch on draft capital. But if Waller even flashes shades of that Raider dominance, even 60% of it, this offense just got scarier. No, he doesn't need to be the focal point. He doesn't need over 100 targets. But imagine this. Defenses already have to account for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Add Waller to the mix, working the seams, finding space underneath, and suddenly, Miami's offense becomes even more unpredictable. And remember, this is a reunion. Frank Smith, the Dolphins' offensive coordinator, was Waller's tight ends coach during those breakout years. Add in tight end coach John Embry, and there's real potential for Miami to unlock what the Giants couldn't. He'll be 33 this season, sure, but age isn't the story here. The story is opportunity. And the Dolphins just gave themselves another weapon without mortgaging the future. This isn't just a roster move. It's a calculated chess piece in a Super Bowl caliber offense. Let's call it what it is. This move is surprising, not shocking, not a jaw dropper, but definitely a curveball. Is it a headline that makes fans jump out of their seats like when Miami traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick? Number. But is it intriguing? Absolutely. Here's why. This isn't just about Darren Waller showing up in aqua and orange. This is about what Mike McDaniel and his offensive staff can pull out of him. Waller's past production speaks for itself, but this is now about fit, not just flash. McDaniel's offense has already proven it can maximize talent. Jonnu Smith's breakout last year didn't just happen by accident. Sure, the player has to perform, but the scheme helped unlock his potential. If the Dolphins can do the same with Waller, this could quietly become a major win. Look, is the tight end position solved? Not entirely, but it may not need to be. This isn't an offense that leans heavily on traditional tight end usage. With Devon Achane lined up all over, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Nick Westbrook-Ikine, and Malik Washington stretching the field, Miami is clearly building a versatile, motion-heavy attack, one that spreads you thin, then strikes fast. Waller doesn't have to carry the load. He just has to contribute. Throw in emerging names like Jared Dokes and Chris Brooks in the backfield, and it's clear. This offense is becoming positionless, fast, and hard to predict. Adding Waller into that mix, call it smart, call it calculated, but don't call it boring, because now the Dolphins have another chess piece, and that should intrigue everyone. This move isn't outrageous, it isn't risky, it isn't headline hogging, but it is, without a doubt, fascinating. The Dolphins didn't mortgage the future, they didn't overpay, and they didn't chase names like Mark Andrews, who comes with a $14 million price tag that never made sense for Miami. If they weren't willing to pay Jonnu Smith $12 million, they weren't going near that number for anyone. Instead, they found a middle ground, a 6'6", 238-pound athletic tight end with receiver speed, proven production, and a chip on his shoulder. Darren Waller, when healthy and engaged, is a matchup nightmare. He's not just a tight end, he's a hybrid threat. And now, he's in Miami's locker room. No, this didn't come from a flurry of rumors or weeks of buildup. It came out of nowhere. But that's what makes it exciting. Waller isn't coming in to be the focal point. He's coming in to add depth, flexibility, and experience to a system that thrives on motion and creativity. This is less about star power and more about fitting the scheme, and that's what makes this such a savvy move. Bottom line, it's not a blockbuster. It's a building block, a potentially key one. The only thing left, see how it plays out on the field. So here we are. Darren Waller is officially a Miami Dolphin, and the price? Just a 6th-round pick with a 7th coming back. Minimal cost, high potential. But what's next? There are still 2 areas that need attention before this roster feels ready for a serious push: cornerback and offensive line depth. At corner, there are veterans still available. Reliable, experienced options who could shore up the secondary and provide immediate support. That unit has talent, but it needs stability. On the offensive line, depth is key. Injuries are inevitable, and having extra bodies who can step in and hold the line could make or break a season. 1 or 2 smart signings there could solidify everything up front. No word yet on the salary cap situation. There are moving pieces still being worked out. Once that clears up, it'll give a better picture of how aggressive Miami can be in rounding out the roster. But for now, the takeaway is simple. The Dolphins saw an opportunity, made a calculated move, and got better without overextending. Stay locked in. This front office isn't done yet.